So it's now week 3. We've been working now for 3 whole weeks with the Cheuk Cheuk. So I want to share with you some of his improvement and some of his progress. And I'm going to focus today on some of his language skills. Now I want to go back and just reflect a little on how those were at the beginning of the first week. And we'll start with his ability to understand some instructions. So you'll see in this next video just a quick backflash of what we were doing, and you can see the therapist in this video giving some instructions to Cheuk Cheuk, and he's really not following them, he's not understanding them, and this is where we began. So where do we begin with this skill? Well, we want to teach him to understand some language. And so the first task that we did was a task that led on from his non-verbal imitation copying program, where he's copying the things that we do with the objects that I showed you last week. And so we call this program auditory discrimination. It means that the student is having to listen to some sounds to do something and to discriminate those sounds. So this is a bit easier than language. Words are much more fine discriminations. These are just sounds. So we start this program by teaching him how to operate and use and copy using musical instruments. They all make very unique sounds, like the shaker and the piano. And we're teaching him, when we play the piano, when we shake the bells, when we make the sounds, find the right instrument and make the same sound. Alright, so he's not really having to listen very much in that video, is he? He just needs to copy what we do, and he can see what we do, so he doesn't have to listen. So now we're going to change it up to where he has to really pay attention and listen carefully. So what we do is we get a big box, and when we do the imitation, when we say find this, we have the things so he can't see. So I'll shake the maracas, and then he will listen. Oh, I can hear the shaking sound. And he will find the right musical instrument to make the same sound. So he's kind of matching sounds at this point, which is good. And you'll see in this video he can do that quite well, which means he's listening to the noises and discriminating which one is it. So once we've got the program where he's listening to and learning sounds, we now want to try to see if he can understand some language. And we pick some very common instructions for him to follow. Like drink water, throw this in the rubbish, play the car, things that maybe everyday kinds of instructions. And we start by teaching him to copy what we do. And in this video you'll see him clapping his hands, and he's starting to do that by imitating us. So we'll clap our hands and say, clap your hands. He claps, and what we try to do is then fade the imitation to where we just say clap your hands, and he follows the instruction. And you'll see the therapist kind of fading the prompt here in this next video, and how we begin that process. Now in that video he's only really following, the same instruction every time, so there's not really any discrimination, or we don't really know if he's really listening and following instruction, or he's just doing the same thing every time to get the reinforcement, right? Which is not really following instruction or understanding language. So we've got to add some discrimination. So once we've trained him to follow a few different instructions in the way previously, we start to add them together. So in this video, you'll see him following 3 different instructions, and he doesn't know which one we're going to ask him. He has to listen carefully to know which one it is that he has to do. So you can see in this video, he started to demonstrate some good accuracy and understanding of following some language, which is really, really good start for him. The other thing that we've been spending a lot of time on here is working on his spontaneous language. At the beginning, he would sometimes say, Mum, he loves the car, and he loves this activity of rolling the car down the slide, and we're getting him to use the word car. And in this one, we deliberately stopped the video that he really likes, and he's got to ask us to play the video for his social responsiveness, but also for his language. And you'll notice in this video,